definitely been with some hoes, right? Because we were talking.
I have been with some.
We were talking about how some of the hoes you've hooked up with and like nasty as shit, right? You go like, oh, they're like moms now. Like if you're looking back on like 15 years ago, your hookups, you know,
Like that's somebody's mom now. Yeah.
you have some of my yeah, some of my favorite hookup stories, but I don't know if it's cool to say them on camera.
Well, I'll decide. I'll decide after the show's over if we're cutting some shit out.
Can I bring them up?
It depends, sure.
Okay, so do you remember the one that you told me about? I remember you told me and Christina. Christina was like, oh my God.
Is this the one I talked about on YMH last time where the girl wanted to blow me while I took a shit?
No.
She's a mom. And a teacher.
Oh my God.
Shit.
Yeah, she just dropped that on you. Wait, while you were shitting?
No, she was literally on top of me, reverse cowgirl, and tried to stick a dry finger in my ass. We talked about
Right,
this. And
right.
I was like, whoa, you have nails and
Yeah.
how about you spit on it? Anything.
Yeah.
Like, just
Warm it up
maybe
a little bit.
Yeah, but maybe even a little like look back, some kind of heads up that something's
Yeah.
about to happen. Not just I saw an arm go up and I was like, what the fuck? And it just boom, and I was like, whoa, holy shit. Hey man, no.
Didn't you have one?
And then shortly after that,
She said-
it might have been post coitus that we talked about that then.
She was like, you know what turns me on?
She's like, you know what I'd really like to do? And I was like, what? Like after that, what's next? She's gonna dry fucking finger my butthole. And she's like, I think I'd like to give you a head while you go to the bathroom. And I was like, that's, me. I'm like, that's impossible. I'm going to be peeing. Like, what?
Yeah.
She's like, no. And I'm like, you mean you want to suck my dick while I take a shit? And she's like, mm-hmm. And I was like, this relationship's over, bro. This ain't going to work out. Yeah, this ain't going to work
How
out.
is that? How is that enticing? I mean, look, I don't mean to kink shame her.
No,
but-
there is no kink shame at all. I mean, I'm as dirty as it gets when I want to be too, and freaky as it gets when I
you told
want to
me
be too.
a girl that like scared you, right? Didn't you say there was a girl?
was a girl we talked about too that pressed her head on my head Dude, so hard that and the first thing she said to me too, she was a waitress I met at the Grove. This is a long time ago, and then like she wanted my number, so I gave her my number, and she hits me up like a week later, and she comes over one night, and the first thing she does is takes this bong rip she hadn't smoked weed in a long time, she said, and she just rips this bong, and she rips it so hard that she starts coughing to the point where I'm now laughing, but she's pissed off because it's not funny to her, and then she starts puking, right? She's throwing up from it. And I'm like, oh, this night's over already. You know what I mean? It's over already. But she rallied and still wanted to have sex. And I was a guy. And I was like, well, brush your teeth and rinse your mouth out. And she did. And she got on top of me. And she pressed her. She told me she was just coming off this medication she was on. And she was getting these zaps. She kept saying, like, oh, there's another one. I was like, oh, what? She's like, I'm coming off of my whatever it was, I don't know, like feel good medicine.
Yeah.
And it was giving her these zaps throughout the evening. I was like, this chick. And she put her fucking head on my forehead, and the first thing she said, and she was pressing hard too, and she said, you fuck my pussy now, I'll let you fuck my ass later. I was like, oh my God. And I went to turn my head and I couldn't. And that's when she like bared down. And I'm telling you, dude, she pressed so hard. I thought my skull was going to cave in. I didn't enjoy any of it. I was trying to tap out. I was like, I couldn't talk. Like, I don't know if you've ever had your head pressed really hard right here, but it stunts your speech. I was like, and finally I took my head and I turned it as hard as I could. And I swear I got like a mark here
like,
from how hard. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? She's like, I'm into that. I'm like, I could tell you're into it. You hoes gotta give some people a heads up. That's all I want to say. There's no kink shame hoes, but give somebody a heads up if you're into fingering a dry finger in an asshole or just straight up headbutting people. It's aggressive, but I'm in if you can just tell me about it.
The two that I was actually remembering were different.
Great.
One was, you're like, I met this girl. She's cool. This is the one. I remember you told us this years ago.
This out here?
Yeah, Latina girl you're dating, and then you go, I wasn't expecting it, but she blew me on the street.
She did, on the street. That's the same one. Okay, here, I'll even lay into it a little more for you too, because this you might remember. This might come back to you, but I dropped her off at her car, and then she just was like, I was just being a gentleman. Like, she came over to hang out. We didn't even hook up in the house,
right?
And I was like, she parked like a block or two away, and I was like, let me just drive you to your car. And I did. And when I pulled up, she just like straight down on it. So I was like, oh, this is a nice girl. I want to see her again.
Yeah.
And I did. And she's like, I want to eat your ass. And I was like,
same girl? That's the same girl?
Same girl. You thought these were two different hookups?
Yeah.
What I'm about to say?
Yes.
And I was like, I don't know about that.
Best.
Like, I don't know. Like, I had tacos and shit earlier today. Like, I don't know if you should be back there ass eating. Like, we just met. But okay. And she did. And I was like, you got to be careful. Like, you're just.
Yeah.
I was like, look, I'm telling you, I'm warning you now. You got to be careful. And I absolutely farted. And she said, and dug in harder. And I was like, whoa. She's straight up. And my friend Jackie knew her. And Jackie, after that, I told Jackie, I'm like, Jackie, listen to this shit. I told her, and Jackie would always look at me. She'd see me rant. She'd just go, all the time, dude. That was her hello to me.